Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman, and in this lesson, we're going to preview Hanon Exercise number 14 all the way through number 20 from Hanon's famous The Virtuoso Pianist. By now, you're at a level where I don't need to walk you through every measure of every single exercise. So today, I'm simply going to do a quick preview of these exercises. I'll share some tips and practice suggestions to get you started, and then I want to challenge you to work your way through exercises 14 through 20 over the next several weeks or months, maybe spending about 1 week per exercise, but of course, going at whatever pace feels right for you. Let's jump in by taking a look at exercise number 14. Remember, Hanon's The Virtuoso Pianist, exercises 1 through 20, is available for purchase as a PDF download from the Hoffman Academy store. And remember, you can download it for free if you are a premium member. Let's look at number 14. This is primarily a workout for your fingers 3 and 4. You'll notice going ascending, the right hand's got this back and forth on 4 and 3, and on descending, the left hand gets a turn with that. The other thing to watch out for, and by the way, as you're going through each Hanon, one of the things we are practicing is being really attentive to fingerings. These fingerings are intentional, on purpose. Hanon is training certain finger combinations, trying to get all your fingers equally strong so you're not just relying on 1, 2, and 3. There's lots of extra exercise for 4 and 5. And sometimes we are training different patterns and combinations. And here we've got a little trick. The right hand is playing 5-4, but the left hand is playing 1-3. Not quite what you would expect. We would expect with the right hand is playing 5-4, left hand we might expect a 1-2, but instead it's a 1-3. That's preparing this shift. It's also just training your hands to be more independent. So follow those fingerings carefully. And then once we get all the way here, notice this time both hands shift to a 3 there. That's a change. Often in the measure right before we transition to descending, there's a little fingering change. That's partially to keep you on your toes, partially it's to prepare your hands for the new pattern that's coming on the descending. So just really watch carefully right before those transitions to descending. Also, sometimes there's a trick right before the final note. Notice here, both hands do a 3 there as well to prepare you for landing on the last C. Like I said, we're going to cruise through these, just a short preview to get you started. In 15, the challenge of this one is the fingers are very not parallel. Like if the right hand's doing 1-2, we would expect the left hand to do 5-4, but instead it's doing 5-3, and then finger 1 of the right hand shifts up to D, and then when the left hand is 4-2, the right hand is 1-3. So they're going to kind of feel out of sync with each other, and then the left hand finally does its stretch here on the last 2 notes. Notice that the challenge of this one is that the hands are a little bit out of sync with each other fingering-wise. Again, we're training different patterns in different ways so you can be prepared to play anything you face. Notice in the last measure before the transition, there's a change not just in the fingering, but in the notes. Always we're skipping up, skipping up, skipping up. This time it steps up. It's a little change. Fingering also changes, and that prepares us for the transition to descending. And once again, in this penultimate measure, 3 in both hands, that's a change from what happens. Step down, step down. That's also a change. No other measure has that pattern, so watch out. Hanon likes to make patterns and then break them. Let's preview number 16. Nothing too special about this one, except we've got this stretch right here in the middle, which is a little unusual. And then notice going on the ascending, we're doing a stretch of a 4th up. On descending, that 4th comes right at the start, and then we go down a 3rd in the middle. So this one is unusual in that it's not perfectly a mirror image of itself. It's not a pure inversion. And so just know that Hanon, again, is playing with you, making sure you're on your toes and ready for what you see. Number 17 is a very stretchy one. We've got a little stretch here between 1 and 2 and 5 and 4 in the left hand, and then another stretch here, 2 to 4 or 4 to 2 in the left hand. So 2 little stretches in a row, and then a little workout for fingers 4 and 5 in the right hand. The left hand will get a turn on the way down. A reminder that whenever you have a stretch, as soon as you're done with the stretch, let your fingers gather. Don't try and hold your fingers in that position the whole time. See, that would be wrong to play like this. As soon as I'm done, your hand always wants to return to the most neutral position possible as soon as you're done with something that requires some extra work on your muscles' part. You don't ever want to hold your hand in an uncomfortable position any moment longer than you need to. So as soon as you're done with those stretches, notice how my hands just kind of gather and relax. Don't play this way. See how my fingers are kind of hanging out? Once they're done, let them gather. So that's number 17. Number 18, there are no surprises. There's no stretches. It's like, wow. Maybe Hanon's giving you a little break. I mean, it's a little bit awkward with like where the skips are, and it's changing direction a lot, so maybe that's the challenge here. And then there's no stretch, you just shift for the next measure. And shift. Shift. That one's pretty straightforward. Notice the slight fingering change in the last measure before descending. Right there, there's a little fingering change, and then we go on our way down. Let's look at number 19. Again, nothing too fancy on this one either. Just a good finger workout. We've got this stretch of a sixth, down a third, and then some little doodaddies, jumping up and down, skipping, stepping. And finally, let's go on to number 20. This is the hardest one. Hanon saved the hardest one for the end of part 1. This is just part 1 of the Virtuoso Pianist, these first 20 exercises from that part 1. And this one has stretch galore. We've got a stretch, 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 stretch. So a full octave worth. Again, stretch, then gather, stretch, then gather. My fingers are coming along with me, not trying to stay in the same position the whole time. As I'm playing this middle part, my hands are just chill and my fingers have gathered back in. Then we stretch, gather, whoop, stretch, gather. So that's number 20. Note there's a slight change in this last measure. Usually we skip down here a third, but this time it's a fourth, and that prepares you to transition into this descending. One other super tricky thing. Can you tell me what it is? What's different about the very first note of number 20? Did you notice it's not starting on a C this time? We always start on a C, right? But because he wanted to do this C major arpeggio, but starting on an E, again, just because it kind of sounds fancy and cool. So note we start on an E, and then in the penultimate measure, we do something a little different. Of course, for the grand finale, we get this kind of cool sounding chord, which we've never had before. So you can really rock out at the end and pat yourself on the back for finishing part 1 of the Virtuoso Pianist. So how do you practice these? Now that we've previewed them, I would suggest you focus on one for about a week, or when you feel ready for something new. Use the fast tools, which I've talked a lot about in previous lessons. It's playing them in rhythms, playing them in fast fours, using a metronome. And when you're using the metronome, you're working on accuracy at a slow or medium speed, but then sometimes you want to push yourself to a fast speed, and maybe even a little faster than you're comfortable, to stretch yourself. And whenever you set a new speed record for yourself, maybe take a moment to write that down at the top of the page, along with the date, as a fun way to track your own progress. And again, I recommend a combination of slow, medium, and fast practicing. always keep good piano posture in mind when you do any kind of technical work. Because if you're playing with tension, you're building bad habits. You want to use your technical work to build really good habits. A relaxed, flexible wrist. Relaxed, comfortably relaxed, but firm enough to keep their right shape in your fingers, using arm weight, and try different dynamics. Like, can you play super soft? Can you play staccato? Different dynamics, different articulations will help your fingers be as flexible as possible as you practice your Hanon. I hope you found this preview of exercises 14 through 20 of Hanon's The Virtuoso Pianist useful. Remember, Hanon is just a tool so you can play better. Think of it like spending some time in the weight room. Baseball players who take time in the weight room hit more home runs. Pianists who take some time with finger exercises can benefit by being able to play their repertoire faster and more confidently. As always, thanks for watching and learning with me, and happy practicing.